Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Motorcyclist died in Hanover crash. A motorcyclist died on the Vaughan Hill Main Road in Hanover on Wednesday. He is 27-year-old Walter Cook of Johnstown, Lucy. Mr. Cook was driving his motorcycle towards Hopewell about 1:30 p.m. when, on reaching a section of the Vaughan Hill Main Road, known as Point Hill, he failed to keep to the left and collided with a Nissan Natia motor car traveling in the opposite direction. Mr. Cook was taken to Cornwall Regional Hospital where he was admitted. He later died. Information Minister says government not trying to restrict free speech. Information Minister Robert Morgan says the government has a responsibility to set standards for spaces it controls and that it's not trying to restrict people's right to free speech. His comments followed the latest directive from the Broadcasting Commission to radio and television broadcasters, immediately banning the airing of recorded material that promotes or glorifies illegal activity. Yesterday, while speaking during a post-cabinet press briefing, Mr. Morgan was asked by reporters if the government is using the Broadcasting Commission to fight crime. He said no. Mr. Morgan added that the government is not restricting people's right to free speech.
That's not the mandate of the Broadcasting Commission. The Commission's responsibility is to govern the content based on the Radio Rediffusion Act that is broadcast by its licensees. The Act and the regulations are very clear that you cannot promote illegality or you cannot promote content that violates your license. I think a lot of us, including members of the media, have complained over the past several years about the type of content that they hear on the airwaves. And let's give a scenario. My office is in front of Clarendon College. So a child walks through the gate of Clarendon College. They go on a bus, chopping songs, Molly songs. They come off the bus a little bit up the road, on Pond Road. Somebody's playing a radio, chopping songs, Molly songs. They go home, the uncle is playing a radio, chopping songs, Molly songs. We have a responsibility for the spaces that we control to set the standard and set an example. We're not fettering people's right to free speech. There are so many other portals you can use to promote your artistic freedom. But when it comes to free to air, that is accessible to every single member of our society, no matter their age, from the baby to the elderly. It's a public facility that caters to the public, that is licensed by the government, that is regulated by particular laws. So it is not about fighting crime. It's about decency and standards. That's all it is about.
Student hospitalized after school rail collapses. The mother of a Decorted College sixth form student is alleging that poor infrastructure at the school caused severe injury to her daughter on Wednesday. Reports reaching reporters are that the student, Nisha Lloyd, was leaning on a wooden rail when it collapsed and she fell, hitting her head and her back on a staircase. It is being claimed that the student had told school administrators that the area was not structurally safe. The infrastructure is not safe because my daughter told me that the student had discussion with administration about it and nothing was done, the mother, Heather Lloyd, told reporters on Thursday by telephone. When contacted, Principal Prim Lewis said the school is investigating the incident and has been in contact with Lloyd while committing to assist with the student's medical expenses. The building that the school used for the sixth form area has been in need of some repair, but yesterday, when no classes going on at the time, the day on that block, it was just a club expo that was in process. I have not been able to ascertain how Nisha fell because we are still in the process of collecting information, basically investigating what happened. The most important thing at this time was to get the student to the doctor, said Lois. Once the student pays their school fees, a portion of it is taken off their insurance. Anything that happened to the students, we stand by them. We do not just stand by them for education, we stand by our students through thick and thin, added Lois. Lloyd said her daughter is badly injured and is to undergo medical examinations. The incident happened about 10:40 a.m. She sent me some pictures at about 10:20 showing her school club, as I think they had an expo at the school. I was just about looking at them when I got a call from the school to say that I am to meet them at the hospital because she was leaning on a rail and she fell, said Lloyd. She said they had just finished what they were doing and went up to the class because they have classes in that section and she was waiting for the teacher to come, so she stood there As soon as she leaned on it, it just gave way and she fell right over, added Lloyd. The mother said Naisha hit her head and her back when she fell. Lloyd said Louis called to check on Naisha's condition. She called on Wednesday and she called back this morning Thursday. The vice principal called as well, and the PTA executive to find out how Naisha is doing. They haven't said anything else to me. I told them that she had to do a CT scan and an ultrasound done, so I guess they just want to keep abreast, she said. She still cannot sit up. She has to be laying on her back, added Lloyd, who is adamant that the school needs to assess its infrastructure. There is a light that is hanging in the auditorium by just 2 strings, and the auditorium steps are also infected with termites, and the students have brought it to the administrator's attention, and nothing was done, she said. However, Lewis explained that the light was broken last week by students and that termite treatments were being done. Yes, there's a termite in the building, as there's termite in all over the building in Manchester, and we have been in consultation with the ministry, and we have been doing termite treatment. In the auditorium, students were playing badminton as well as basketball, and the student hit a ball and broke a light. The electrician was called in to fix the light. It is not at risk to fall, Lewis said. President of the School's Parents Teachers Association, Debbie Lewis Richards, said some repairs are being organized by the association. We are working with the administration. I have an engineer on my team now, and we are going on the campus on Saturday. We did some assessments already because there were leaks during heavy rains. We are going to be doing an extensive go-through because we don't want to have any incident like what's happened again, said Lewis Richards. Grange calls for a Caribbean government to develop orange economy. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Oliver Grange has called for a plan to devise collectively by a Caribbean government to develop the regional creative economy, also called the orange economy. Grange made the call during a panel discussion entitled Caribbean Leaders Open Dialogue on the Orange Economy, a plan for Caribbean development on Wednesday. Grange said that the Caribbean government have to facilitate and enable the development of a regional creative economy, which would include the financing and promotion of the sector. Our governments have to play the role of facilitator and enablers when it comes to developing the orange economy. Governments need to be initiating action to promote the creative economy, promoting access to financing for the sector, she said. As with other sectors, governments must promote more opportunity for training and development in various fields of industry and covering all aspects of creative economy ecosystem. Our government must also be forcible in encouraging development nations more to fulfill the obligations that are asserted in various international fora. For example, the European Union offered to our CARIFORUM region through the Protocol on Cultural Cooperation preferential access to the markets of the EU in accordance with UNESCO 2005 convention, she added. She also indicated that the orange economy will serve various sectors which include designs, visual arts, music, software, among others, while noting that since Jamaica reopened the sector, there was a Jamaica 17 million boost to the nation's GDP. The orange economy includes all sectors whose goods and services are based on the creation of intellectual property, such as design and visual arts, tourism and cultural heritage, new media and software, performing arts, music, and literary arts and publication, she said. It is noteworthy that in the quarter in which Jamaica reopened the sector, there was a 17 billion spike in the country's GDP. The orange economy then has great economic potential. It is for this reason that I lobby for grants to the ECCI sector in the amount of 90 billion to help both individual and corporate bodies involved in the orange economy. Green said that if the orange economy is to promote economic diversification for Caribbean nations, governments must identify ways to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises can benefit from the sector. If the orange economy is to become the pillar of economic diversification in the Caribbean, there is need to understand its trajectory and to identify the way MSMEs can benefit from the development, she said. Over 50% of the region's gross domestic product and at least 60% of total employment is generated by MSMEs, so our boosting of the orange economy is a proven and creditable path to the Caribbean economic development, she added. Green said the major follow-up to the panel discussion should be a regional conference and more international partnerships on the orange economy. Other members of the panel were Michael Brown, Minister of Creative Industries for Antigua and Barbuda, Gil Antonio Calypsonian of Trinidad and Tobago, and Alfonso Mora, Vice President, Latin America, Caribbean and European International Finance Corporation. The virtual panel discussion was organized by the Caribbean Association of World Bank, IMF, IDB, and PAHO staff and executive directors officers representing the Caribbean. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell